Hailing frequencies are open. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Clear Skies, The Last Excelsior, the very first episode of our brand new Star Trek Adventure 2nd Edition campaign with the StreamPunks. Thank you so much for being patient with us. You'll notice that we have a significant absence of Bonnie, but Bonnie is here, in fact. We do have a Bonnie, but after struggling to get Bonnie's webcam to acknowledge Bonnie's existence, we've decided we're just going to bear it. We have Bonnie's voice. It just seems like, Bonnie, your curse in Star Trek is just to be a voice that we all hear. Apparently. If it's not a whale, it's a computer. If it's not a computer, then you're just this amorphous Andorian in the background. So we'll just have to, yeah. Oh, are you going full Andorian for this show? Is that what you're planning on doing? Are you going to pull an Amy Dallin on us? Amy Dallin's pretty metal, y'all. Thank you so much for joining us. We're at the start of the brand new campaign. This is something we've been really looking forward to. We had our last fundraiser that we had was all targeted towards this campaign. You're going to see a lot of improvements and things roll out after this first episode. This one is just getting it up off the ground. This is, to my knowledge, the very first live play of the 2nd edition Star Trek Adventures system. So we hope you will enjoy what we've got prepared for you tonight. And more importantly, we hope Modifius is satisfied with what we're about to do, because they were kind enough to throw all this at us, and we're very grateful. We have a lot of thanks to give away, but we're going to kind of skip through a lot of the traditional sort of the ritual opening of a lot of our shows because we are starting so late. So I'm going to do some very quick announcements for StreamPunks, and then a few of our other StreamPunks have some very quick announcements before we kick things off. First of all, you will notice that we have a distinct lack of Caitlin. Caitlin will be joining us for the next episodes. Caitlin is currently out of town, so we've kind of baked this into the narrative. Don't sweat it. That being said, I'm also letting everybody know that if you are interested in supporting the StreamPunks, or you'd like to join the community of people that have been supporting these shows, you can do so over on our Coffee account or on our Patreon. Information will be provided for that if you are so interested and so inclined. It's pretty cheap to join up if you want to join a bunch of other Star Trek fans who've been following us since our days at GNS. The last thing I was going to say is just to give everyone a heads up. We've been getting some questions about this, and I can confirm that, yes, we are actually going to do supplementary roleplay with the community for this campaign. However, it is not on the StreamPunks Discord. It is going to be on my personal Discord called the League of Whimsy. We have a few of those mods in chat. So more information will be provided. I want to give a quick shout out to Steffi and Rogan. Rogan put together an entire Wikipedia of all of the planets that we have rolled up in our solo play for Captain's Log, and has also accumulated all of the characters that have been made and put them up on a Wikipedia for the role play. Steffi, also known as Pretty Witchery, went and created a bunch of separate channels for us to enjoy role plays off the side. So if you'd like to enjoy this Clear Skies campaign in the old-fashioned ways that we did back in the day when we were running Shield of Tomorrow, this is an opportunity for you, so check it out. That, I think, is the only announcements I have to kick off. Does anybody else have any other announcements they would like to make before we get underway? Yes, Eliza. Eliza's muted. Oh no, they can't hear you. Oh God. Oh God. Oh God, please tell me. Please tell me. Please, please do not. Please don't do this. Bore. No, it's just every now and then Video Ninja likes to abs. No, you're right. You're right. Jake is on it. Hashtag we know. Hashtag we know. I'm the only one who's clearly transmitting. You're not hearing Sam either? Sam says that's for the best. So can you guys hear Bonnie talking right now? Only me. This is going to be a very one-sided campaign start. Wow. Well, we apologize, all of y'all showing up late as we did. And then here we are, still struggling with some tech issues that we're trying to iron out. Apologies for that. Of course, it would happen on premiere night. Of course. From the character sheet issues to
they don't even know about that.
Welcome to the Oops All Eric episode of Clear Skies.
Time to break
I'm going to have to pull. Oh, we hear voices.
Oh,
hey,
are we back?
Hey, fixed. All right, everybody, run test.
It should have been when I said something rude and or disproportionately violent to comedic effect.
That's probably true.
Oh dear.
Yay, we hear Bonnie. Communications are open.
Yay.
Crew is all back. Excellent. We are back up. Okay, we've got sound. All right.
Okay.
Lisa. Would you like to once again make that very huge announcement that you just made? And I want you to, as an actor, I want you to pretend like this is the first time you're ever saying it. Okay,
I'm saying it live on stream.
Yeah.
So I finally published the thing I've been teasing for the past few weeks. Coded a visual novel, interactive story that tells the story of me unexpectedly getting diagnosed with autism. Yay!
Diagnosis. Score.
Yeah. So autism and ADHD. The autism was the big surprise. The ADHD I've known. I just kind of knew. But yeah, please go to elizapearl.itch.io. Go check it out. I'm unemployed right now, and learning this news, as you can imagine, has been life-changing and mind-blowing. So I am trying to get some donations through that. So if you can just share it far and wide, I want a lot of people to see it. Also because I got tired of telling people one-on-one because I was like, oh God, this is a lot of emotional. This is emotionally draining to tell everyone I know individually that I have autism, and then also soak in their reactions, which mostly have been great. But some have not. Anyway, please go check that out. That's my only update today.
Awesome. It's a pretty big update.
It's a pretty big
All right. Welcome. Anybody else have anything they'd like to announce before we kick things off?
My hand is raised and I realize you can't see it.
No, I can't see it, Bunny.
Oh no. What a magical day.
What do you got?
For those of you attending Star Trek Las Vegas, I will be there with so much programming. I'll wait and announce that for the next episode because it's so much.
This is the classic Bonnie making announcement that there will be an announcement.
Sure. And also everyone go to watch Star Trek Prodigy season 2 on Netflix because it's amazing. It's amazing.
Yes, it is. It's been rated one of the best seasons of Trek ever. And
we have 100% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Y'all are nuking it. It's pretty amazing.
It's pretty amazing.
Antimatter explosions all over the fandom. I will also say real quick, a big shout out to my friend is over at Cherry Tree. They will also be at Star Trek Las Vegas. So if you see them, stop by because they just released the brand new Klingon PC. And our dear friend Baba has been working on the Klingon keyboard. Highly recommended. By the way, 16-bit Eric 6 gets you 6% off at everything on Cherry Tree. #sponsored. Okay. Woo! With that, does anybody else have any other announcements before we start this brand new story? Yes, Sam.
We're going to space. But the nice space where nothing bursts out of your chest. And I'm so excited.
With that, friends, once again, after all of these years, a journey that started 7 years ago, let us now continue and boot up our very next big campaign of Star Trek Adventure 2nd Edition with Clear Skies, The Last Excelsior. We open the story with Captain Jaren Idril beaming on board your brand new command. The blue curtain of energy spreads in front of you, and as it begins to subside, you find yourself standing on a transporter pad that is surrounded by total chaos. Almost every single transporter panel here is open. You notice that there are ensigns that are currently standing at attention, but you can tell by the equipment that they're holding in their hands and some of the utility belts around their waists that they were in mid-job when you beamed over. A few of the isolinear chips are laying kind of dangerously exposed out on the ground. The chief transporter officer, a young ensign who is looking quite terrified with a bright head of red hair and freckles spattered all over her face, smiles weakly at you and says, Captain, sir, Starfleet gave us a heads up rather late, sir, that you were going to be beaming on board. Welcome aboard the Pride. Permission granted to come aboard. You didn't ask. I'm sorry, sir. We're a bit overworked right now. Our departure orders, they came in. We're just a little, sir. Sorry, sir.
At ease.
Yes, sir. The other two ensigns immediately, they wait just a beat to see if that ease was for them. And then when they don't get one acknowledgement or the other, they immediately hunker back down and started running tests on the transporter again.
Looks like everyone here has their hands full.
Aye, sir. There's a lot of happening. The Pride is ready, sir. There was just a few issues with some of the power conduit, specifically some of the plasma flow. There has been an update. I think you saw in the briefing, sir, that the Pride had a brand new warp core installed. Turns out that not all the plasma conduits were updated, sir. So there's no problems. They're almost done. But it did mean that many of us have been up all night making sure that she could get underway on time, sir.
I'm sorry. I've been terribly rude. Can I have your name?
And in that moment, she freezes as her Starfleet training, her ability to manage this console, all of that flies out the window, utterly out the window. And she stares at you blankly. Zoe, sir.
Zoe.
I'm sorry, Chief Zoe Ramy, sir.
Jaren, Idril.
Ensign. Sorry, sir. Promotion. Happened just 2 weeks ago, sir. Sorry. And she taps the single pip on her collar and says, it was unexpected.
Congratulations. I'm glad to hear it.
Thank you, sir.
This is my first command. So we're moving up together, huh?
What does she see standing in front of her, holding your duffel bag as you've been beamed forward?
She sees a 6 foot bald Bajoran man with a very elaborate earring on his left ear that has a blue gemstone at the base of it. Full formal uniform, pips on, everything to code. The moment he saw the nervousness from Zoe, that put him more at ease. So it's right now. It's just, okay, you and I are nervous together. How can I help you? It's got.
Would you like to make a command roll?
Yeah, he's got the full goatee going with a little bit of salt in there.
Okay.
And command roll. Command.
Yes, indeed. So for this roll, the very first roll of the game, this is going to be a command presence roll.
Okie dokie, here we go.
Difficulty is 0.
Okay.
Because I'm being super nice and starting you guys off with a 0 difficulty for your very first roll.
I appreciate that.
Something fishy.
Yeah.
I have to roll under 17. And I rolled double 3s. So.
Double 3s. Does that trigger a focus out of curiosity? What do you have any focuses that might apply here?
Ooh, that is a good question. Yeah, team dynamics.
I would agree. Yes, I would agree. So then that is 4 momentum. 1, 2, 3, 4 momentum for the crew, which may be
Woo.
spent as you see fit. But in this particular case, as you say this to her, you see her shoulders. You thought maybe she just had a football player kind of build, even though she only stands maybe 5'6". But you realize, no, that was muscle tension. You've seen it in plenty of cadets. You used to be this person. You see her shoulders kind of slink back down, and you realize that they drop like a full 2 inches before they level off, as some of the tension escapes from her. Your friendly demeanor and command language puts her at ease, and she smiles and says, well, everyone's looking forward to serving with you, sir. Oh, I'm so sorry. Admiral, I'm so sorry. Admiral Raylan is actually on the bridge waiting for you, sir. He beamed over about an hour ago. He didn't tell anybody he was coming.
Now it's my turn to get rigid, huh? I was attempting a joke. Can I see the list of items that you're all working on here? Perhaps I can find a way to make it a little bit more efficient. Not that you aren't doing a great job. I just want to see if I can help before I get to the bridge.
She reaches down and picks up a data pad and immediately swipes and pulls out and then hands it to you. You see she's basically exited 2 submenus in order to get back to the roster of crew that has been assigned to repairs. If you would please make me a quick, I'm going to call this an insight engineering check.
Okay, so for that,
Difficulty of 1.
I have to roll under 13.
Okay.
That's why am I rolling doubles? Double nines.
Double nines. Okay. So that's 1 more momentum for the crew. So y'all have 5 now. You do a quick scan over the data pad, and what you see is indeed the Pride looks like she's ready to go. It looks like the primary issue has just been getting her warp core settled. There have been some quick emergency repairs being done on replacement of some of the plasma conduits on decks 4 through 7. But other than that, it looks like things are well in hand. The bridge, on the other hand, is currently designated as a repair zone, whatever that means. Someone using some shorthand and not being very clear as to what that is.
I'm going to have to learn how things are done around here. Exciting. If you switch doing this task before this task, that makes it a little bit easier. It's something I learned.
Oh, thank you, sir.
Starbase study. Okay, I'm going to go to the bridge now. In hopes of not making a fool of myself, can you make sure you point me in the right direction so I don't start walking the wrong direction?
Aye, sir. They're shutting this transporter pad down now that you're here, so I can actually escort you if you like, sir.
Yes, please.
You see her beam, and she says, right this way.
All right.
You've given her something she can do right now and do well. She immediately straightens up and says, may I take your bag, sir?
I've got it. No offense. It's just,
She leads you out into a corridor. You step into the corridors here, and immediately you are hit with the look of a classic vessel. There's no hiding that you are on a refit Excelsior now. The transporter room might have been able to pass for just about any kind of modernized ship. Jaren, this Excelsior has the old school corridors. They're smaller. The ceiling is a little bit smaller. Everything's a little bit packed, especially because a lot of tech has been jammed into the wall units all over the corridors of the Pride. For 80 years, this ship has been going through revisions, 83 years to be exact. She's been refit again and again and again and again. The most recent refits, aside from the warp core, you were made well aware that she's been installed with updated environmental controls that allow her to have a crew that can interact with one another in an environmental space. Something that only the most up-to-date starships get these days, now that Starfleet has perfected some of that technology. That being said, that's turned a cramped quarter into a very cramped quarter. Right now, you're in a corridor that could probably only take maybe 2, possibly 3 people walking shoulder to shoulder before it starts getting cramped. So every now and then you're seeing crew members kind of elbow past each other. It's definitely old school. You have not seen corridors like this on a starship since you first saw a Constitution class when you were a child, back at the Fleet Museums.
Retro.
As you were walking through that corridor, though, you hear everybody say, "Captain on deck!" And people immediately make a hole. You see officers line up against the walls as the ensign begins to lead you through. Everyone stands at attention as you walk past them, and you are led to a turbo lift.
I'm just going to lean over to Zoe and go, I'm still not used to that. Get in the turbo lift.
She kind of smiles nervously as you step into the turbo lift. She activates it and says, "Bridge." It starts going, and she says, "Sir, may I ask you a question?"
Yeah.
You said this is your first command?
Yeah.
Do you mind if I ask, and you don't have to answer this, sir, it's a bit personal, I guess, but are you nervous?
Extraordinarily, but a little less so. Thanks to you, so thank you.
You're welcome, sir. No, I sometimes get told that my nervous energy makes people feel better about their own. I kind of operate at that level.
That, and you got a new position. I've got a new position. That means that I've already started having something in common with the crew. So,
yes, sir. Only 3 more to go. The door opens up, and you see, for the first time, the bridge of the USS Pride. The center chair, the expansive bridge looks like it has been adapted and reconfigured multiple times. It still has that Excelsior feel. You can notice the very obvious pitting in the very center of the room that ramps down, making space for the helm and operations controlled consoles. But the rest of the bridge is delightfully classic, with wall panels that bend all the way around, almost in like single units, as you see interactive computer mainframe interfaces that also wrap around. Very reminiscent of a cross between what they were trying to do with Galaxy class, and still very reminiscent of the old school Excelsior Constitution way of doing things. You also see your first officer on the bridge, currently handing data pads back to a few of the lower ranking officers who are running things by her. If you could please, Commander Hata Ben, describe yourself. What does our captain see when he steps onto the bridge?
You see a slight, almost ethereal in her body language, Arcadian. She is an aquatic species, and she has kind of a light blue, almost iridescent skin that is smooth. She has 2 rows of hair, kind of like 2 mohawks side by side, but hers are kind of victory rolled back into loose braids, and they're kind of flowing behind her. She has these very wide set eyes that are very, very wide and piercing. And that's what you see.
On top of seeing this sight, you also notice that a few feet away from you, just as you've stepped out of the turbolift, the very first console that is available to you as you step onto the bridge is actually the tactical station. There are 2 people currently standing at the tactical station. Well, I shouldn't say there's one person standing at the tactical station and another person laying on the ground. The person laying on the ground is on their back, and it looks like they've had a panel removed and has half of their head stuck inside the panel. They are currently working some of the working with some of the tools, and you can see a couple of like flickers of light coming from the inside as they continue to ramble on. difficult to believe, but it's hard to miss the dress golds going down the seams of the upper part of the uniform. This is Admiral Rollin, the Betazoid Rear Admiral who is responsible of putting you in command. And he is currently having what sounds like a rather informal conversation with an Andorian who is running tests on that tactical console. Bonnie, would you please describe your character and tell us her name?
Yes, Lieutenant Commander Zarya. She's an Andorian with obviously with blue skin, with her white hair, but she has a few little purple streaks throughout. Just, to give her a little bit of an edge. She seems very uptight, but at the same time, like you see, like she has like this mischievous way of kind of looking around. Like she doesn't miss anything, but at the same time, I don't know. You see her and you think this is someone. It's very hard for me because I'm doing a face right now and no one can see what I'm doing and I'm very upset about it. Damn it. I'm like, she looks like this. And I'm like,
I know, apparently as a VO actor, you're not typically given lines that explain your character in this case.
Yeah. She seems like she can get a job done, but at the same time, probably pull a prank right after, if that makes sense. But she catches your eye and gives you a nod and says, "Captain, welcome to the bridge."
Thank you for the welcome.
Admiral Rollin immediately speaks up, says, "Is that Jaren?" And he pushes himself out from underneath the console. You see Admiral Rollin. He is a man who achieved his status as a rear admiral shortly after the Dominion War, after leading fighter squadrons of Peregrine fighters in the Battle of Cardassia. For a Betazoid, he has the typical jovial attitude that you get from a lot of Betazoids who have a pretty innate understanding of the emotional level in which everyone operates, including themselves. Someone who's a little more loose. You have not seen Admiral Rollin in person in probably about 6 years. And as he pushes himself out from underneath, you can see the handsome, dark, curly brown hair that spills down to just about his shoulders has already started to develop quite a few gray streaks. He's already got a couple of crow's feet developing on the side of the corners of his eyes, but still has those brilliant, big, black Betazoid eyes and looks at you with a smile from the floor and gives a shrug and says, "How you doing, Captain? Getting here right on time, I see. I was hoping I'd be off the bridge by about now. Give me one sec. Zarya, go ahead and boot that up now and see if that's going to work. I'm pretty sure it should interface just fine."
Thank you, Admiral. That fluctuation was giving me nightmares.
First, you see, he nods and he picks himself up and pops a few bones as he stretches back and he goes, "Live it up while you can." And he pats your weapons console, Zarya, and he says, "This is one of the last ships in the fleet that still uses phaser banks.
And let's hope we never have the option to use them."
Well, the hope was the ship would be ready by the time you got on board. But Idril, she's going to be ready to fly.
I have no doubt. First thing I saw when I transported aboard was the crew hard at work. I have no doubt that she'll be ready to fly at any moment. It's good to see you, Admiral.
Good to see you. Why don't you go get acquainted with your first officer for a moment, and then when you're done, come see me. You and I should talk. Don't worry, it's not... Well, it is stressful, but it's... Just see me when you're done.
Yes, sir.
Let's go ahead and run that diagnostic one more time, Zarya. I just want to make sure that y'all don't get caught with your pants down, as they say on Earth.
I am good. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, with that, he turns right back to Lieutenant Zarya. How would you pronounce your last name, Bonnie? Would you
Sorry,
say?
I was muted. This is fun. Zarya Shirayla.
Shirayla.
Shiralo.
When you
Actually,
chose your name, I was like, bet you anything on first episode she's going to be like
Shirayla. The last L is silent.
Okay, the last L is silent. Shirayla. All right. So, Lieutenant Shirayla, he turns back to you, and the two of you begin to, as thick as thieves, begin to continue reconfiguring the phaser banks And with that, Captain, you make eye contact with your first officer.
I'm gonna walk over. Commander?
Hello, Captain. It's good to see you again.
It's good to see you. Hello.
Hello, Captain.
So, can you tell me a little bit about her?
Yes, this is the Excelsior class, and we're the last one in commission.
Yes. You're gonna catch his ass straight to the seat, and then back to you. Oh, wonderful. Well, I hope.
I just realized no one announced you when you came, and that's wrong. Captain on the bridge!
Oh,
Everyone immediately, for the first time, reacts and stands at attention. And you see, for a split second, you see Admiral Rollin half turn and go, I don't have to do that anymore.
At ease, everyone. Should I say something to them?
Yes, I think you should.
Oh, okay.
Hata will step behind the chair and kind of be standing kind of at attention with her hands folded in front of her.
Okay.
Jared's going to walk to the chair and put his bags down. Okay. Take a seat. Hello, crew members of the Pride. I am Captain Sharon. I'm making my way. This is. Hello, crew members of the Pride. This is Captain Sharon. I've already been greeted so warmly by all of you, and I understand that there is a proud, distinct history in this ship. I understand that this has been your home far longer than it will ever be mine. But I just want to stress that it is my every intention to honor what has come before and to get us through whatever we might face together. Thank you. And thank you.
I'm sorry, Captain. Did you want me to open a channel for the?
Oh, really?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Would you like to do it again, Captain?
Now that you've rehearsed it for the bridge,
The Admiral
would you
raises
like
his
to-
hand and says, I'm going to need a little bit of the captain's time. We can do that in a second, though. But I think everyone on the
Okay.
bridge got the message. Thank you very much, Lieutenant.
Understood, Admiral.
And
And I go back to work on the
Captain, why don't I see you in your ready room for a second?
Of course. Just picks up the bag.
He nods to you, Hada, and says, Hada, you have the bridge.
Thank you, Admiral. Back to work, everyone.
Indeed, everyone gets back to work. The Admiral leads you just off the side of the bridge. You enter through a door into a small, compact-looking ready room. Not the extravagant, luxurious ones you see on the bigger starships. Again, as with everything on this ship, a throwback to a time when ships were built with significant less comfort in mind and more about functionality. When you step inside, you don't have any of the great windows looking out over the expanse of space. Instead, you have what looks like a very enclosed space with a couple of pictures on the wall, some plants, and a couple of comfortable seated areas along with your desk. The Admiral steps around the desk and taps it and says, why don't you take a seat and I'll sit over here and I'm going to give you my speech. And I'm going to help you with my speech.
Okay.
Ready?
Thank you, Admiral. Puts his bag down, sits where he was told.
He takes a seat and crosses his legs and leans back and says, here we are.
Here we are.
Jaren, I wanted to talk to you in private because you were stepping into this in very unusual circumstances, and it's not fair. And I thought it would be a good opportunity to meet you when you got here and have a discussion with you and give you some pointers. So please take this as someone who is just acknowledging the situation that you're in and who is not trying to patronize you, okay? Let's forget
Understood.
rank here for a second. Now, I know you know that there were a lot of people standing in the way of you getting the center chair. And I know you were passed over for command. And I'm fully aware that the scuttlebutt moves pretty fast, and you found out that I was the one pushing for you to get this. Does that all track?
It does, and I feel like the other shoe's about to drop. So,
Shakes his head. No. Nothing like that.
oh,
Nothing like that.
good.
Here's what I'm going to tell you. It's a really unfair situation for you. Because you undoubtedly feel like everyone in Starfleet Command is staring at you right now. And I know that because I'm feeling it. You know as well as anybody else how badly I pushed the Pride to get out of space dock and what this project means to me. With everything that's going on right now, our resources are stretched so thin. Yeah, I pulled some strings, and yeah, maybe you could argue that if the situation was different, I wouldn't have been able to get you the center chair. But Jaren, I want to tell you something. As desperate as I am to get this project off the ground, I'm still a Starfleet officer. I still care about the people that I work for and that I work with, and I would never put somebody in that chair who couldn't do the job. You understand me? No, you're muted. You're off to a great start, Captain. Yeah, he gives you a meaningful look as he lets that kind of hang in the air for a moment. And then he says,
Permission to speak.
yeah, go ahead.
Permission to speak freely. I understand. I understand the situation. This isn't how I dreamed to get the center seat, and I've been sidelined before by the Federation. But that does not dilute my enthusiasm and determination to succeed in the position and to make your project a success.
Okay, Noir. How are you really feeling? How's Sharan really feeling as the Betazoid looks at you?
Oh no.
Oh, there is a deep well of frustration.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why can't they see that I'm good enough? But with that, there is the I don't care where they put me. I'm going to be so great that I can't be denied. So those are the two fires inside right now.
Okay. He nods and says, well, since we're off the record, since we're speaking freely, he gets up out of the sofa, walks over to you and puts his hand on your shoulder and says, you're going to have two enemies during your time in that center chair. Both of them are you. They're going to be two different versions of you. First one's going to be the one that's going to try to prove to everyone you can do this. And the other one's going to be the one that thinks this was all a fluke. Find that middle ground. Because that's where I'm at. I felt good about this choice. The CNC wouldn't have given me the okay if he didn't think I knew what I was doing. Last piece of advice, though. And I'm going to get a little technical on you here.
Yes, sir.
If you're nervous, don't let them see it. It's charming, but not when you're a captain. When you're a captain, they see you nervous.
Yeah.
Could mean life or death for your crew. Let them think that you've got everything under control. Trust your first officer to handle things when you're nervous. She's going to be the one you can say that to. She's going to be the one that has your back. Not saying deny how you're feeling. Just don't let them see you sweat. Don't ever let them see you sweat. Do what you were born to do. You got that 4th pip. Everyone sees you wearing it. No one here doubts you. And off the record, the brass can go screw a targ. I know more about what's going on here on the ground than they do. They got their hands full with everything that's happening in the Romulan space right now. And Reserve Fleet is going to be called in to do some stuff that Reserve Fleet doesn't normally do, but it's not something we all haven't done before. This is a great opportunity. And now the last part I have to put in there. There's 2 uncomfortable bits that I have to go over with you, although admittedly this is more to my discomfort. Well, the first one is. The second one's going to be to yours, unfortunately.
Well, there's no point in delaying. What is it?
The first one is Starfleet fought me on this. They fought pretty hard, but Admiral Picard had my back when I told him what we were doing with the shuttles, and he thinks with the timing of everything that is happening with the Hobus star, we could use some rescue shuttles that are up to date and capable of what they're doing. So things got pushed forward, but unfortunately, at the last second, I got this. And he pulls a data pad out from his belt and hands it to you, and he goes, I've done everything I can, but unfortunately, this is just one of the things I lost. And you look at the data pad that he's holding, and you see a personnel file that does not match anything you've seen. A Federation citizen. It starts to sink into you, Captain, as you're looking at it. A reporter from the Federation News Network. And he says, I know. Believe me, I know. But this is the last Excelsior class in service. It's her final voyage. And I'm pretty sure somebody is just trying to screw with me. But one of the conditions that I had to sign off for, my guess is to distract everyone from how nervous they are about things that are happening in the galaxy right now. He is going to be stationed on this starship, and he is going to be covering your entire tour of duty until he sees fit to leave. So, sorry. You've got press.
First command with a reporter doing a piece on everything that occurs.
Yeah.
Well, I suppose if that doesn't make me sweat, nothing will.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I don't envy you. But the Pride, she's this ship has seen it all. She put to space shortly after the Kittimer Accords were signed. Enterprise B was still flying when this ship was just being commissioned. She's been around, Captain. She's saved lives, seen things that other people have never seen before. But she's never really gotten a chance to show what she's made of. 80 years in service. How many captains have sat in this ready room? In that center chair. Well, maybe not that exact center chair. There have been 8 refits, but you get the idea. Just do your best and give the girl one last good dance before we send her on her way. And also, I need your backup. I'm gonna need you to follow me down to the main shuttle bay. There's a conversation I'm about to have that's not going to go very well.
Oh, wonderful. Well, Lead the way.
He sighs as he steps out of the bridge. And as he steps out of your ready room on onto the bridge, he just gives a salute to you. This is going to take some time getting used to, Bonnie.
Yes.
Sharilal?
Sharella.
Sharella. Okay.
Sharila. Oh shit.
Sharila.
Just
Okay,
call
cool.
me Zarya.
Okay.
Lieutenant Zarya.
Lieutenant Zarya. Okay. Lieutenant Zarya.
If she can't even pronounce her last name, we'll just go.
Gives you a nod. And gives you a nod to number one as he steps onto the turbo lift and says, "We'll be right back."
Thank you, Admiral. The console's working perfectly.
Glad to hear it. Remind me to tell you the time I had to repair one of those things while trying to fly a Peregrine. And the doors to the turbo lift close. Y'all are in the turbo lift, and you can see as you hear it going, he just goes, main hangar. As the turbo lift activates, you just see the Admiral's just shaking his head and says, "Captain, you're about to see something you would not normally see from a junior officer, and this is largely because the relationship I have with this particular junior officer is somewhat informal. It would be frowned upon by other members of Starfleet. It should not be allowed on your ship. But in this case, I would say give them a pass because I'm about to drop a bomb on them."
Oh, well, that's better it coming from you than me.
Yes. I'm kind of responsible for this, so I'm doing this now so I don't get a priority one message in the middle of the damn night. And you see not necessarily a nervous twitch, but just a little bit of agitation as he's tapping his thumbs together. And you hear the doors open and you step out onto a deck that looks a lot more together. It's also a lot wider through here, as equipment is usually moved in and out of some of the main cargo bays. But as soon as you step out and everyone sees a flag officer with a captain in tow, everyone stands at attention and steps to the side as Ox crew stands at attention for the two commanding officers that are moving down the corridor. You guys move through the crowd of officers, reaching the very end, stepping into the large double doors that lead to the expansive, yes, the USS Pride took that trait, the expansive shuttle bay, larger than is on a typical Excelsior refit. As you step into this open space, you can see this beautiful command bay that looks down over an expansive shuttlecraft bay. In the shuttlecraft bay, the doors are currently open, and you can see outside the doors the interior of the starbase that you are currently docked in, which, by the way, is Starbase 84. So you see this big, beautiful, glowing ambient blue light and shuttles zipping by in space just outside the force field opened doors. You can also see a couple of starships that are currently in dock. Down below, too, is an unusual sight you don't normally see in a shuttle bay. You see what look like two Peregrine fighters that are currently locked in. One of them looks like it is currently being stowed in what seems to be a locking rack that kind of raises up into the ceiling to make room for other shuttles. And the other one is currently being fitted. You also see what look like two modified shuttles that look slight variants to a standard type shuttle that have also been brought in onto the side. A couple of other standard shuttlecraft that are currently being worked on. There are what look like pieces being assembled of a third Peregrine fighter out on the deck right now. It doesn't look like it's in shambles. It looks like it's literally going through a refit on the spot on the deck. Down below, you see a bunch of deck crew. And everybody stands at attention as you step into the command deck area, as the two of you walk out and find yourselves looking down from this overlook. He says,
Well, this is something else.
"Yeah, she's quite the ship, I'll tell you. I was pretty lucky to get the Pride. I was trying to pull something from the reserve fleet. You know, they were just putting her in mothballs as soon as I snatched her away. Half the crew you've got is crew that served on her during the last tour. They all volunteered to come back."
Well, that says something about her, doesn't it?
Yes, it does, Captain. Yes, it does. And he seems to be lost in thought for a second. You see he's gazing down in the shuttle bay. And at the bottom, about, I'd say close, nearly 80 feet down below and on the deck, you see someone who looks like they're in the middle of a heated argument with a deck chief. If you would, Sam, please describe Lieutenant Commander Cadence.
Lieutenant Commander Cadence is a human 5'9", 5'10" or so, wavy strawberry blonde hair that, and this is rare, is shorter than mine. What's happened? What's life? I'd tell you the eye color, but you're far away. You don't effing know, but you could see the freckles from here, I'm pretty sure. They are in command. Red's jacket open, and while that is a Starfleet uniform, they're clearly spiritually aligned with a leather jacket and some aviators.
Also, a quick clarification: Starbase 84. If I didn't, I may have said 80. Okay, good.
You got it.
So definitely stands out among the other crew. He glances over at you and says, "Lieutenant Commander Cadence, we flew together during the Dominion War. That's your CAG."
I'm sorry. Can I have that name again, Admiral?
Lieutenant Commander Cadence. And no surname. Cadence was raised by Vulcans. And they are quite the unique officer. And a little bit of an anachronism, as you can see.
All right. Well, I'm certain that this wing is in good hands.
Well, and he moves past you as he steps over to one of the garage lifts and says, "They're in hands, certainly hands that know how to fly." And as he steps onto the lift outside, he says, "Follow me."
Aye, sir.
As the elevator takes you down to the deck, you see a more expansive view from this angle of Starbase as the hangar doors are still partially open. But you also see this place is looks like they're currently rearranging the entire deck. You see a couple of shuttlecrafts have had their nacelles removed, and they are currently being placed in storage to make room for some of the Peregrine fighters. Peregrine fighters, of course, are much larger than a standard shuttle. They are wider. They are demanding because of the high maneuvers that they pull, and they're also being slowly phased out of service right now. So it's interesting to see them loaded up onto your deck, though you were prepared for this. As soon as the Admiral's feet touches the deck and he steps down, everyone, of course, immediately goes, "Admiral on deck!" And everyone passes the word down as the entire hangar bay stands at attention.
Tujad, we will get back to this.
He nods and looks rather irritated and stands at attention and tries to just, you can see on his face he's having trouble stopping the conversation, but he puts it away, manages to put it, he's fine. On that note, you see approaching you the Admiral and somebody who you presume is your new captain wearing 4 pips striding up.
Cadence is at attention, sort of bouncing a little on the balls of their feet, waiting for these slow officers to finally get here.
As this is happening, running over and standing next to you, Cadence, is the Pride's deck chief. This is Deck Chief Keith Santos. Human Filipino man, roughly in his early 40s. Has a pretty good sense of humor, but you two have developed something of a shorthand for screaming at each other. And he comes and stands at attention next to you, and he goes, "Better pucker up that ass. Here comes an admiral."
This one will do. Promise.
Here comes the admiral, walking straight up to you guys, stops at attention, looks you over with a critical eye. You've seen him do this before, Cadence. You know he's just doing a bit of a show right now for Chief Santos. Santos just stands at attention, jaw clenched from time to time, and he glances back at you and he says, "At ease." And he moves over and puts his arms around you and gives you a rather strong hug, Cadence, and slaps you on the back. And says, well, look, they actually went for it. I managed to pull you off the test range.
And it only takes giving me a whole wing of my own to actually see you in the flesh.
Captain, this is your CAG who's going to be heading up the Griffin Wing project. Cadence, may I introduce you to your captain, Captain
Jaran Idril.
Cadence.
Captain.
The commander in here and I flew in the Dominion War back when they were just a pissy little junior lieutenant.
And now I'm just a pissy little lieutenant commander.
Of a very impressive wing, if I may say so.
You may and you should.
On that note, I actually need to talk to the two of you. Chief, do me a favor and go do something important, would you? Sir. Aye, sir. And
like those tracking algorithms on the recon.
You can't hear it, but you know he's cussing as he walks away. Santos moves back over to one of the shuttlecraft. The Admiral steps closer and kind of forms a triangle with the two of you and says, I know everyone's getting to know each other right now, but I wanted to talk to the two of you together here for a second. First of all, I just wanted to say the two of you are probably going to feel the pressure the most on this ship because the entire project is kind of hinged on whether or not the Griffin Wing project succeeds. I'm here to tell you, don't let that be on your shoulders. That's on me. Just do what you do. I want to make sure that ship operations are not on the shoulders. This project is not on your shoulders, Captain, and it's not on your shoulders, Commander. This is on me. Just make us proud and do what you do. And I've also assigned Tavine to the helm. All right. Well, with that, I'm going to leave this to you, Captain. He pauses and looks back and says, Cadence, please. I needed a helm officer. She's the highest rated helm officer for this class of starship. Literally nobody else in Starfleet has the expertise to helm an Excelsior class.
Yeah, you're not wrong, but maybe sometime in the how many years we've been working and how many months we've been putting this wing together,
You're going to have to learn to work with her. The two of you are just going to have to make nice and get along.
I did learn it's not my fault she forgot.
I don't know Vulcans that forget very often, Commander, but that sounds like a personal issue, and I'm going to leave it to you two. Just try not to make it hell for your captain.
That would be nice.
With malice aforethought.
Well, that's all I'm here for. He turns and looks back at you, Captain, and says, I have taken up far too much of your space. This is your ship, Captain, and with your permission, I'm going to head back to 84 and, well, I'll be the only one watching the launch, but I'll make sure to have a nice drink as I see you all out. You've got exactly 2 hours.
Permission granted.
He leans in close, puts his hand on your shoulder, and he says, don't forget these times, Captain. There's nothing like your first command. It's a time that will never come again. Do us proud. Do the Pride proud. Something like that.
Aye, sir.
Leave the speeches to other people. I'm a pilot.
Yeah.
Pats you on the shoulder and he says,
speeches are.
he gives you a pat on the shoulder and looks at you, Cadence, and says, Try not to be a pain in the ass.
No promises. I'm gonna steal another hug from him before he tries to scramble off.
Pats you on the shoulder. And with that, Admiral Rollin, a man who has some points to make, but seems a bit jittery himself, makes his way off the deck, leaving you to your ship, Captain. You see him head back up the elevator before taking one last look down at the two of you and the Peregrines that are currently being constructed on the deck before disappearing back into the command bay.
Captain.
Hello.
You're looking well.
Thank you. As are you.
The 4 pips suiting you thus far?
Heavier than expected.
I have to say, ships like these look about the same as they did the last time I was flying in one of them.
Yeah, they look the same as the textbooks that I read. I should make my way to the bridge.
Do we need to?
No, I think we're fine.
Well,
I'm certain we're fine. Yes.
great leadership, Captain. You
Great.
know where I'll be.
And you know where I'll be. So if you need anything, I'm going to the bridge now.
And with that, he walks away.
I really walks away.
And he turns and walks away.
Santos, we are not finished. You get back here.
You see him hang his head for a moment as he drops one of his tools into his work unit and stands up and begins to head back over to you. A few moments later, Captain, as the door opens, as you head back up to the bridge, slides open and you see a standing in front of you, about to step onto the turbo lift. Just as you're stepping onto deck 1, you see what looks like clearly a Trill, middle-aged, spots going all the way down as they do, graying hair with somewhat of a receding hairline. Looks like he might be in his late 50s from the looks of it. Dark brown skin. He stands at attention when he sees you. Says, "Oh, Captain, hey, there you are. I was just coming to look for you, sir. I'm Lieutenant Commander Pavan Even. I'm going to be your temporary chief engineer while you're getting underway. Thought I would head up to the bridge to meet you."
Well, Matt, I look forward to working with you.
Thanks, Captain. I look forward to working with you too. Good chance to work on a classic.
Yeah, she is beautiful.
I can follow you to the bridge. I didn't want to stop you here in the turbo lift.
Of course.
Just wanted to let you know that the rest of the personnel that we'll be picking up to complete the crew roster will be waiting for us on Starbase 16. The Admiral had your orders waiting for you at your chair, but yeah, I just wanted to come up here and meet you in person. I don't get out of the engine room very much. Kind of the way I prefer it, really. I don't really like anything above deck 12. It's just a personal preference thing. I don't know why I do that.
Well, I'll do what I can to make your job easier.
Yeah, I'll do what I can to make your job easier. That's kind of my job. Anyway, unless you need me, I'm going to go back down and make sure that the power flow conduits aren't going to be pushing anything. You know, I don't know if you heard this story yet. It's actually kind of a funny story. Have you found out what they were doing about the phased holographic coupling injectors?
No, but I feel like that will be a wonderful story for you to tell once we take off.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. At least one of the new ensigns tried to reset the tertiary quantum flux dampener, and it Anyway, I'll tell you over drinks. Anyway, you have a good departure, Captain. I'm gonna get back to my shifts here. What was I doing anyway? Steps onto the turbo lift.
I continue towards the bridge.
And you step back onto the bridge. This time without
Captain,
an
I'm
admiral,
ready.
so go ahead.
Captain, I'm ready to open a channel if you're ready to do that speech again.
No, that won't be necessary.
Understood, Captain. Thank you.
Captain on the bridge.
People stand at attention. At about this point, it is worth also bringing up that you see a science officer is also at their science station right now on the bridge. So with that, if I could get a description, Sam.
Yes. Ivrali Jajalot. They're an Andorian as well, so the stations nearby, their antennas are weaving at the same wavelength. They are under their breath saying words that Tactical knows are, well, somewhat blue, but they are going to ring every single piece of preliminary data out of those sensors if they have to wring the sensor's neck to do it. Where is the sensor's neck? We don't know.
It is worth pointing out at this point, just in case anybody is having some questions, we, for the very first time ever in playing Star Trek Adventures, are finally using the support character system. This is a system that allows it's the experience of not only playing your main characters who are going to be the main thrust of. I think, Aliza, unless you want to bring your secondary character on the bridge as well to meet the captain, since everyone will probably be aware that the captain has arrived, that is an option. You can always bring your support character into a scene whenever you choose. However, it is important to know that when you choose to bring in your character, you play that character for the rest of the scene. You can't switch between the two. So
I will not bring mine for now.
Okay.
But I also
Cool.
wanted to, I don't think I said before that Commander Hata Ben is wearing gold operations uniform.
Right. That's right. Yeah, you're in the gold operations uniform.
Wait, is that true? Nope.
Mhm. Yeah, you're ops.
Is it?
Yeah, you
Yes.
selected ops. Yeah, originally you were going to be science, but then you changed to ops. So you were going to be comms, but you changed to ops.
Yes, that's right.
That's what it was. Yeah.
Okay.
So with that, you see that there is a data pad with your orders on the captain's chair. A rather informal way of doing it, but something with a little bit of an analog charm to it, perhaps to match the surroundings of the ship that you were on.
I get in the seat, pick up the data pad, give it a quick glance.
As you sit down in the seat, responding to your presence in the chair, the view screen automatically goes, bling, turns on. You just see the images outside of the USS Pride of Space Dock. The doors slowly closing as you watch a Luna-class starship just leaving Space Dock. In your hand, the orders read that you are to proceed to Starbase 16 to complete crew transfers and personnel acquisition. And then you are to head to the Chandler Fields asteroid field to conduct shuttle tests. The first round of tests on the rescue shuttles. And when it's all done, you are to return to Starbase 16 for debrief. Pretty simple.
All right, simple enough. Do we have our heading?
Yeah, you've got coordinates and everything you're headed to.
All right. Well, then, swing. Just go. Do the go.
The ensign that is currently sitting at the helm, filling in for the what will be the full-time helm officer, he turns and looks in your direction. You see what looks like could probably be charitably described as someone very similar to Zoe. Someone who's probably a little green. You get the impression, Captain, that perhaps this is going to be something that is a common sight here, considering the the conditions of which you are being given the starship. But the interesting thing about this officer, rather she, is that she is Bajoran. She turns and looks at you. She too has the earring hanging down. Very young, single pip on her collar. And she turns and looks back at you a little confused and says, "Go, Captain? Did you?"
Seeing another Bajoran there, he takes a deep breath, and there's like a confidence that comes. And he goes, "We have our heading. Swing."
Aye, sir. And you see her turn back to her station and pause for a second. She goes, "I'm sorry, sir. I don't think I do have our heading. Should I plot a course somewhere, sir? Should I take us from space dock, sir?"
Yes, we have. Yes, that's exactly what we're all having a good time. We're all having a good time. All right, yes. I'll put in the heading, and let's go.
Do me a favor, if you would please, Commander Ben. I would like you to make me a command presence, or actually a command insight check.
Okay. Oh wait, you said me?
Uh-huh.
Right. Okay.
Mhm.
Command insight, yeah?
Yeah.
Command.
Insight command, rather. Yeah.
Thank you. Okay. Ooh, 2 successes.
2 successes.
Yeah.
Okay, the difficulty was only 1, so I'm going to bring you back to momentum now that we've changed scenes. So you should have 5 now.
Okay.
You see a couple of looks that officers give each other on the bridge as the captain's doing this. And it's those looks of like, am I the only one that's kind of alarmed right now? Like, it's kind of confusion and a little bit of anxiety from some of the bridge officers as the captain is saying all of this. They kind of look at each other for a moment and then immediately put their eyes back at their station when they make eye contact with one another. But it's a brief moment as a first officer where you can see all of a sudden they are concerned, a little concerned. That's when you hear the ensign sitting at her station goes, "Clearing all moorings, sir. Starfleet Command, this is the USS Pride requesting permission to leave space dock." Beat passes and you hear, "USS Pride, this is dock control. You are cleared to depart." "Roger that, Starfleet Command. Thank you very much." And she taps on the control console and says, "Moorings all cleared, maneuvering thrusters." And you all hear the engines come to life as the Pride begins to power up her nacelles. The impulse engines slowly coming online, the rumble of the ship coming to life. You see on the view screen this slight slide effect as the maneuvering thrusters push you away from the side of the dock, and you begin to slowly make your way towards the double doors as they start going, these huge massive doors slowly opening to the great black starry curtain beyond.
I look over to the ensign at helm. Do I get a sense that she does know where we're going?
You know that she knows to leave space dock.
Okay. I would like to.
She hasn't been given a heading. She hasn't been told to plot a course for Starbase 16 or anything like that. She's just doing what she was told to do this time. And
Okay.
yeah.
Assuming that I know, because I know we're doing crew pickups and I know where that's happening, I'm going to discreetly send her the heading from my station to hers.
Okay. She sees it pop up on her helm. You just see her eyes light up for a second, Commander, and you see a wave of relief pass over her as she immediately starts typing in on the LCARs, hands playing over the consoles very quickly. As this is happening, her eyes are completely missing the gorgeous sight of the USS Pride opening and maneuvering through the opening doors of the starbase. On the outside, a sight that has not been seen in Starfleet in many, many years, and one of the last times we'll ever see it. Excelsior class refit slipping out of space dock as she begins her final tour, her final voyage. You leaning up against the side of your chair as you see a lot of the work is still being done on the consoles. Zarya, there's a moment as you're standing there at your tactical display. This tactical display is a new refit installment here on the bridge. And you find yourself with this tactical display in front of you, feeling like you're kind of in a position of power, like you're leaning up against the edge of the ship as you guys are sailing out of port. It gives you that sense as all of you are beginning to maneuver out of space dock. And as soon as you clear the space doors, you hear the ensign at the helm say, ahead 1/4 impulse power, plotting a course to Starbase 16. On your command, sir.
Oh, yes, command, go.
Oh, you hear Zarya actually make like an active like we have got to work on his Captain Zinger.
She just goes, hi, sir.
I make a mental note to be like, all right, we gotta get the captain a better line.
The horizon of the world that sits below Starbase 84 begins to pull away from the view screen as the course is laid in. And punching in the coordinates, the nacelles of the USS Pride ignite a bright blue. And almost as if she did on the very first day she ever leaves space dock, the USS Pride leaps to warp. You see the warp field in front of you as the stars begin to distort, as space-time begins to warp around the field bubble that establishes around the ship itself. And in a brilliant flash of light, an ocean of stars racing past the view screen as the USS Pride begins her final mission. And that is actually a perfect place to pause for our 10 minutes.
Woohoo!
And get Noir synced back up and maybe find out if we can get Bonnie back. And
I've been here the whole time. Surprise!
We will be back in 10 minutes for the second part of our very first mission. Don't go anywhere. We'll see you soon. Welcome back, everybody. We're going to jump right back into where we left off with the USS Pride departing space dock on the first leg of her very first journey out into space. Of course, it's a pretty standard mission that's been provided to the captain. Essentially, sort of like a quick run. A very simple mission. You're just going to Starbase 16 to complete crew transfers, and then you're to conduct a shuttle test at an asteroid field that has been nicknamed the Chandler Fields. After that, you're going to be returning to Starbase 16. So essentially, to give you some insight, it's important to remember that directives count as values for your characters. When you were given orders by Starfleet, those count as values that you can call upon. They're considered directives. So I want to go ahead and map out to everybody who is learning Star Trek Adventure 2nd Edition for the very first time. These are important to keep track of because in Star Trek Adventure 2nd Edition, one of the things that they encourage you to do is to keep a personal log based on values and directives that you have followed or you have challenged as you continue to play. And this is how you track your character's growth and how many times you called upon those directives and those values, the things that changed them, the orders they defied or the orders that they followed to their utmost. They can make or break an officer's career. And in this case, the orders are pretty simple standing. Conducting a shuttle test. That's going to be largely falling on the CAG and your wing of pilots. You guys are currently en route to Starbase 16. Travel time is roughly 4 hours, and you are traveling at warp 6. So you all have some time. This is one of those moments where, as the ship is getting underway, late in that day, ship time, you guys have the opportunity to initiate scenes that you all wish to have, either with your supporting characters or with your main characters. So if you would like to do anything, now is the time as you were all in transit. Right now, everyone is just experiencing the gentle hum of the warp engines working their magic as you were all being taken to Starbase 16. Where would you like to go and what would you like to do? Would anybody like to do anything before we arrive at mission?
I think Brog would like to ask, get some time with the XO to ask about the new captain.
Do it.
Okay,
You both are on the bridge where you should be because you are in transit. So go ahead.
We see a short, stocky Tellarite with a recording device. Just Commander.
Yes.
Yeah, I
May
want
I
to talk
help
to you.
All
I wanna
right.
talk to you. Away from. I don't want people to hear because I'm probably going to say things about them that they won't like.
Quick question.
The tactical
Yes.
officer heard of that and is not.
Quick
it is-
question. So just to clarify, this is your supporting character, Noir?
Yes. This
Okay,
is,
so a stocky
this is the
Fahrenheit-
reporter.
A stocky Tellarite holding recording device has stepped onto the bridge.
Mhm.
Zarya, you see somebody you have never seen before. They are not a Starfleet officer, a Tellarite. They are holding some kind of recording device. They have just stepped onto the bridge right behind your security station. Keeping in mind that you are both tactical and security, you have no idea who this person is.
All right. One moment.
And Commander Hata waves over a standby ensign who will take the operations.
Well, I'm assuming this person has clearance to be on the bridge, or they wouldn't be talking to the XO.
Right. That's
Did
what
you-
I was.
Okay,
I'm trying. That
immediately.
is when I'm sorry. Hold on one sec, everybody.
Yeah, sorry.
What I'm trying to communicate is the chief of security has witnessed somebody who is not authorized to be on the bridge and who is not on the manifest step onto the bridge and approach the first officer with a recording device. So I'm putting this out there so the
Hey.
chief of security is probably going to have something to say about this.
Have I met Brog yet?
It's my understanding, based off how we set this up, that the only person that knows that press is being brought along on this journey has been made. The captain is the only one that's been made aware of it.
Ah, okay. Well, in that case, I will take back what I said because
Yeah, I immediately pull my phaser and point at this Tellarite.
Okay.
Oh,
you pull
all
your
right.
phaser.
That's quite all right, Lieutenant Commander.
This
I'm
officer is not in my manifest. They are not
And-
supposed to be on this ship.
not in mine either. Can you please explain who you are and if you have clearance to be here, especially on the bridge?
Are all of the operations on the Pride this incompetent?
Excuse me, I asked a question first, so you should answer my question first.
Oh, very well. I retrieved permission from the Admiral to report on the last voyage of the Excelsior. I was told that you all have been made aware of that fact, and it clearly appears that you have not been.
Clearly.
So
No, we have not.
Is this going to be a trend for the crew of the Pride that you all have a failure to communicate important information from higher ranking officials?
I believe the failure is on you for not introducing yourself the moment you made yourself approach the captain and the XO.
The ensign at the helm loses a bit of her decorum and actually swivels in her chair and glances back over at her shoulder at the conversation that is happening with the look on her face of like WTF as she glances back at the conversation that's happening. The captain, who is currently in the center chair, who, by the way, is now controlled by the storyteller since the supporting character. Captain Jaren swivels in the chair and glances over and recognizes this Tellarite who's just stepped onto his bridge. He goes, it's all right. This Tellarite is, well, I was told that he was going to be here.
Oh, so this is your failure. I'll put that down.
It seems like you are very biased for a journalist.
And I would also like to add, the captain stands up as he steps over to the reporter, that you have still not identified yourself. And so we're not the only ones sharing in failure right now, are we?
Yes. Yes, you are. I spoke to your admiral. it was your job to deliver that information to your crew.
Then it was the admiral was at fault for not.
Okay, the captain raises his hand at that, Lieutenant. Zarya, you see.
Wait, we're turning into that Into the Woods scene. So it's your fault. So it's your fault.
Joran raises his hand and says, "That's enough of that." I'm sorry, I didn't catch your name.
Oh, I'm Brog Bov Pinned.
Brog. Reporter. Right.
Yes.
Well, Brog,
Zarya immediately types that in and starts
Okay.
everything they have on this person.
Brog, I am happy to accommodate you for your posting here on the USS Pride, and I'm glad to have you here. But the bridge is authorized personnel only, and walking onto it with unannounced is going to get you stunned by my security officer.
Threatening civilians.
It's going to be like that, is it?
Is it supposed to be any other way? If I can't call out a failure if you don't fail.
Well, I look forward to talking to you more about your posting here. Lieutenant Zarya, do me a favor and show this gentleman to his quarters.
With pleasure, Captain.
Thank
Please,
you.
if you'll follow me,
I will be speaking with you soon.
All right. Well, I was told there would be unfettered access, but it would appear that the Admiral is not a man of his word, and the crew at Phaser Point directed me to my quarters upon first trying to introduce myself to the crew.
You can also look at it as I'm walking him to his quarters. You can also look at it as this crew is ready for any scenario, including a unauthorized person and unregistered person off the manifest breaching the ship. Considering we had just left space dock and we were that prepared for that kind of scenario, I consider that a win, not a failure, as you put it.
Crew has shown capacity to look at failure as a success. Worried. He just keeps following you to his quarters.
You head down to deck 3. Officers' quarters are down here. Turbo lift opens. It's a lot more orderly down here, and a lot of the corridors here that wrap around the entire side of the saucer section are dedicated to some of the higher ranking officers and senior staff. There have been quarters that have been designated for him.
What was his name again? One more time.
Brog.
Oh yes. As we make their way to his quarters, I'm like, listen, Brog, I've had my fair share of being written up and seeing my family in what they would call the tabloids. So your writing doesn't really, I wouldn't say scare me per se, but let's just say I'm going to keep a close eye on you and your writing. And if you have any questions for me in particular,
I do.
Free. Oh, good. Feel free to send in a request and we can sit down and have a nice chat. And I give him like a nice glare. But not threatening, just kind of like I know what you're up to.
As this
speak your language.
I'm gonna say, go ahead and make me a command presence check.
Yay!
And guess what, y'all? We're gonna utilize some of the new, yes, indeed, social combat skills that are now available in Star Trek Adventures 2nd Edition. There is, in fact, it's actually quite simple. But essentially, this is going to be an opposed role because I'm getting the impression if you're going to glare at him, you're attempting to intimidate. Is that correct?
Yes, I do have a focus on that, though.
What's that?
I do have a focus on
that. You have a focus in that.
Yes. Of course I do.
And Dorian, the facial structure of your forehead gives you an already innate sense of looking pissed off when you want to look pissed off. Mm-hmm. So as you glare with those icy blue eyes that tell, right? We're going to find out whether or not this will actually succeed at intimidating them. So on that note, I am going to have you guys make what is called in this game an opposed roll. Mm-hmm. So in this case, Bonnie,
yes,
your Tellarite is going to make a presence command roll.
Yes.
And For you, Frog, I'm going to have you make a control command roll.
And I'm gonna take. Can I take a momentum to buy an extra die? Just to
Oh, that reminds me. Two things. First of all, you're going to lose a point of momentum because we've changed scenes.
Right. So we're down to I think 3.
Now you should be down to, well, technically 3. I've got you down to 4 though. But yeah, if you there's also, real quick before we continue with this roll, I just want to give everyone a heads up. There is a system that I am playing with as a homebrew system for us StreamPunks in particular, because we have support from the Aux crew. Now, in Star Trek Adventures 2nd Edition, momentum spins have been balanced out considerably. And in some cases, you have to spin momentum to even do the action you want to do. But those typically lead to successes. In this case, I found that allowing you to spend Aux points for momentum is actually kind of game breaking. It kind of gives the crew a little too much ability and too much power. So instead, what I've decided is that Aux points can be spent to give yourself, this is an experiment. You can spend an Aux point to give yourself an automatic focus in whatever it is you're rolling, which will increase your crit range.
Okay, I have a question.
However, it will also increase the complication range by 2.
Okay.
So if you roll an 18 or higher, it becomes a complication. So it's a huge bonus with a minor possibility for a complication.
Instead of using momentum to get an extra die, can I?
You want to spend an Aux point?
No. I was going to say, can I purchase one?
You're like, now that you've said that, as a matter of fact, no, I don't want to use it.
No, can I purchase one by adding to the threat?
Oh, you want to give me threat in order to purchase some momentum? Yes, you can do that.
Okay, great.
You can absolutely do that.
Because I got 3 successes, and I also used my intense species ability, which is when I succeed at a task where I purchase 1 or more d20s by adding to threat, I generate a bonus momentum.
Okay, I'm awarded a threat.
But we get more momentum.
So now it's an opposed check. So now we're going to see Brog resist and see if Brog can resist.
Okay.
All right.
I would like. This falls under one of my focuses.
Does it? Okay. What is it?
Interrogation.
That seems like a skill that you're good at interrogating people, not necessarily you're good at resisting interrogation.
And I'm not really interrogating you. I offered you to ask me questions. I'm just staring at you.
But I would say, Noir, that if Brog wanted to use interrogation as a way of intimidating somebody, like if you were asking probing questions and putting somebody on the spot to choke them up, that would be a good use of that. Okay. And you were trying to glean more information out of it. But yeah, I would say you're good at interrogating people, but you're not necessarily automatically good at resisting being interrogated. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, then I think that's just if it doesn't fall under a focus, just 2 successes.
Okay, and how many did you get?
Sorry.
3. Okay, so then you are actually going to succeed at intimidating. Now, however, even though you succeeded at this, Brog can decide, I don't give a damn. I'm not going to be intimidated. And instead of letting you successfully intimidate them, they can take stress.
I'm going to take a point of stress.
Okay, then you take 1 point of stress. So, Zarya, you might see a bead of sweat running down the side of Brog's face, but Brog is unmoved and stands his ground as he stares back at you.
That's fine. I like a challenge.
So just to be sure that I heard you correctly before I go into my quarters.
Of course, Brog.
You told me that you have a history of being written up. Is that correct?
Yes, you should know my family if you've done your research correctly. I feel like that might be a failure on your part as a reporter.
Oh no, I was only meant to report the important aspects of the Pride.
Oh, fantastic. Well, then maybe just, do a little insight on some of the officers and you might find out more about me.
You're not a senior officer, right?
What do you wait? What does
so
what does
sorry
mean?
for this.
What does he mean by that?
Yeah,
Yes,
a
I
senior
am.
officer is somebody who serves on the bridge and is the head of the department. You are a senior officer.
Yes, I know. That's why I was so confused. I was like,
Okay.
You are
I
totally
got
a senior
confused. Yeah.
officer.
I was like,
know-
yes. And
Oh,
once
you
again, yes, once again, you have shown your own failure in doing your research.
Brog, is there anything specifically you're trying to do here?
Oh no, he's just that
Are
was
you
that
trying?
was it.
Are you
Look.
trying to provoke her, basically?
Look, Brog.
Actually,
Well, hold on. Let me get the answer
Yeah,
from
yeah, yeah.
Noir. Are you
Yeah.
trying to provoke or anything, or are you?
oh no, this is just how Tellarites talk.
Okay. Okay. Cool. Yeah. Oh,
All
believe
right,
me,
you're
I know.
assholes. Yeah.
All right, cool.
Look, look. Is it Prague? Prague.
Brog, Bob,
Brog.
Bend.
Look, Brog. I don't. Look, we're on the same side here. We both want this mission to succeed. We both want this ship to succeed. We both want this crew to succeed. So let's try and actually work together on this. If you're going to be reporting back to Starfleet, writing papers on us, documenting this mission, yeah, I want you to be truthful, but I want you to be truthful. Do you understand what I'm saying? None of this words and putting color.
We still have you. Welcome back.
Colorful language. Oh, so yes. Oh, did you lose me?
You
No, we're
said
good, we're good.
colorful, and then you blacked out again.
Like
And-
I was trying to think of the word like colorful language.
Mm.
Yeah, and twisting our words.
To what end? I don't understand the accusation.
I'm not accusing you of anything.
Oh, in that case,
I'm just saying I'm looking forward to reading your reports and looking forward to working with you. Welcome to the Pride.
thoroughly unimpressed, and he just walked into his quarters.
And as I walk away, I'm just like, oh, that's adorable. He thought he won that battle.
the two of you narrating what you're thinking.
Yeah.
and trying to rape your fights like this
Oh, I just
sword
get-
fighting
no.
like the two of you trying to like
And I get into the turbo lift and you under my belt, just like, I hate reporters. Oh.
as chat is like already drafting up romance fan fiction between these two characters as the hatred begins to burn
No.
between the two of them.
Oh, yes. We love to hate each other.
Like, we don't know. Do they actually like each other, or are they going to pull knives in just a moment? Hard to say. Probably knives at this point.
I mean, knives of love, of course.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. I have to go airlock myself. I'll be right back.
A few moments later, you return to the bridge.
I sure do. Hello again.
Um,
Sorry, I keep forgetting no one can see me, and I'm like doing stuff with my hands, and I'm like, nobody can see any of this.
Nobody can see anything. You step back onto the bridge. As this is happening, I would like, if I'm pronouncing this correctly, Lieutenant Avrali, is that correct?
Yes.
Lieutenant Avrali, do me a
Mhm.
favor, if you would,
Okay.
please. And who would like to roll for the USS Pride?
I'll do it.
Okay. In which case, I need a control science check. Oh, I'm sorry, a reason science check. I need a reason science check for this. And then the Pride is going to be rolling sensors science. And the difficulty is 2.
The Pride rolls a 1.
Woo!
Is this a sensors check of any flavor?
It is a sensors check.
Okay, cool. Then I get focus. I don't know whether that die was cocked. In all truth.
Well, I'll allow it. If you want If you want to,
Yeah, it was truly. Usually, I'll call it one way or the other. That one, okay. That was accept. No, see, that just feels unfair. You're not allowed to roll my under my focus when I'm doing the reroll that was granted to me by Grace. So anyway, 2 successes from Evrali.
Okay, so for a total of 3 successes then. Oh, no, 4 because the Pride scored a 1.
Yeah.
So y'all are maxed out on momentum now. Because the difficulty was 2. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, and 6. So y'all are maxed out at 6 momentum. All right. Write this down. So keep track. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okie dokie. Probably the conversations have been somewhat distracting behind you, but you have been testing out some of the upgraded sensor suites that have been installed on the USS Pride. And she's now operating as a pretty standard starship of the line at this point. In the process of looking out into deep space as y'all are all traveling at warp 6, you begin to detect a faint carrier wave that's being picked up by the Pride. It looks like some weak transmission on... Yeah, looks like a weak carrier wave of some kind. You're barely picking it up. You do have the ability, as always, to spend for more information.
But yeah,
Let me say that I want to do it before you remind me. Then now it doesn't look like I remembered.
Mostly just telling the audience, reminding the audience. Yeah, as somebody who like primarily spent about 2.5, maybe I would say, I'd say about 75% of your time playing Star Trek Adventure spending momentum for more information. I figured you'd probably remember, but yes.
Well, now I don't want to.
No, I don't want to.
Carrying a transmission, I have already on the success of the roll gleaned that it was of a communications origin, or is that unclear at this time?
It looks like it's possibly a communications origin. Yes, it looks like it's probably maybe a deep, like a subspace signal of some kind. Probably typically that is transmitted by another ship or maybe a relay station. Difficult to say right now, but it's weak. So the sensors are only picking up. Typically, this would be something ops would be picking up, but it's only long range sensors that are detecting it. It's within 10 light years.
Obtain information. Are these on Starfleet or other Federation frequencies?
Obtain information reveals that it is on all frequencies. That's 1 spend of momentum.
Do we want to let me spend to try to clean up the signal, or would you like me to do a roll about that?
I might say no. If you spent a momentum, I'd give it to you. That's totally a momentum spend.
I think that spends the last of our overflow. Is that concordant with your math?
Yeah, because this is which is good because it's bonus momentum. You have to spend bonus momentum or it's gone.
Use it or lose it. So I figured I would.
So what was the question?
I would like to clean up the signal to an interpretable state. What's it say?
Cleaning up the signal, you get it looks like it's an automated repeating cycle. It is an SOS. It's difficult to tell who it is coming from or what kind of ship, but that could be something you could triangulate. That could be something you could roll for if you're trying to find the point of origin.
Roll or another obtain information?
This would probably be another obtain information check.
Okay, and that would bring us to 5.
It is repeatable. You can spend another point. So this is basically Lieutenant Evrali just curiously looking at the comms, getting the signal, tapping a few times on the computer as the display changes in front of you. You see you're getting the signal popping up, tapping a few more buttons as the LCARs beep in front of you. You bring up the carrier wavelength and detect that it is in fact an SOS being sent out on all signals. Where's its point of origin? Inevitably, you're going to have to tell the captain this if you're going to report it. So you type in a few more and you spend that point of momentum, bringing you down to 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And about 8 light years from here, the ship seems to be civilian in origin. Registry, you're getting some faint signals back, but it looks like a freighter of some kind. Not able to glean that much more at this range. The signal is weak, but that could be because of the range or wherever it is that they are, or perhaps the failure. Maybe they're experiencing some kind of communications failure. But you do have a point of origin.
I'll lean over to let's see how far. I'll just take a little pass around over to Con, lean over. How far off our current vector are these coordinates?
Well,
Benson?
Con is on the other side of the bridge, so if you're going to go speak to the Con,
Oh, it's kind of a loop around right by mission
that's
office. from
true.
what I
Yeah,
can
you
see.
can just walk right around the railing and head
Just
over.
kind of slide a bit past the captain on over and just kind of do a bit of lean.
Okay. She glances up at you and says, "What's that?"
This vector. These coordinates. How far off our vector are they?
She glances at it and says, pretty far. It's easy enough to figure. Looks like the triangulation is a little off. Not your math or anything. It just looks like it might actually be not the distance that's making the signal weak. I think it's something more to do with where it's coming from. And she glances down and starts typing into the helm. She brings up a
Simulated by
navigational.
spatial distortion?
She nods and she says, "That's what it looks like to me." And tapping in it. By the way, it is worth noting that the first officer station is right next to her. So,
Oh, yeah.
so
Commander Bennell over here, I'm sure.
yeah, can totally hear all of this. She types in on the comms and goes, "Yeah, no, it's not as far as you think. I think it's a subspace distortion of some kind. I think it's much closer." And types it in and says, "There you have it, right there." And she points, as you see on the navigation, taking your data and splicing with what she's got. I'm going to make a quick roll for our young ensign. If somebody would like to roll for our ship, USS Pride.
The XO.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll do it.
Okay, in which case, XO, I'm going to have you roll comms plus science.
Oh, ship sheet, is that in our Discord?
Oh, you don't have the ship sheet for the Pride?
I don't.
Oh, that's an important thing for a first officer to have.
Yeah.
I shall send that to you.
Yeah, just drop it in and we can pin it.
Scrolling up to see if I missed it somewhere.
Hold on, and I will post it here.
Okay.
Da-da-da-da.
Thank y'all.
Ooh.
Okay. So yeah.
Okay, sorry. What was
Okay.
that?
So I'm going to need the Pride to roll comms plus science,
Okay.
and I'm going to roll for her. And okay,
Ugh.
I
How'd
don't
the
like
Pride
that.
do?
I don't like the noise.
how'd the Pride do?
The Pride rolled a 20.
Complication. Okay. In which case, she types in on the comms and goes, "I've got the triangulation, but I can't understand what the problem is. But look," and she points, and it's not 8 light years away. It's less than half a light year away. And she says, "It's pretty close by, but something's weird about where it's located. I don't know why it's playing with the helm or the sensors like that."
I think it's about time to call in the big guns. Commander, Captain, we have an SOS that is not nearly as far away as it looked at first.
Commander Ben will lean over and take a look. Oh,
Data's fighting me. I will fight it back. I promise. It will not win this day.
you just picked this signal up?
It's broadcasting on all frequencies. Federation frequencies, Ferengi Trader frequencies. I think I saw some kind of entertainment frequencies. Every frequency you care to know, they're saying help.
Well, Captain, would you like to change course and we can see if we can help people today?
What exactly is the message saying?
All you can glean is it is a repeating standard SOS. It's not actually saying anything. It's not anybody's voice. It looks like it's maybe an automated system.
Standard freighter SOS. These things are built in case of system malfunction, also something you can activate manually.
Are we the closest vessel to the distress call?
That's
At the
on
light
you,
year?
science officer. Probably, yeah.
Well, send a communication to Starbase 84. Let the Admiral know that we're going to be running a little bit late. Change our heading for the distress call, and let's see if we can help some people.
At warp 8, we can get there in a little over 30 minutes, sir.
Then let's go.
He nods, says, setting course, accelerating to warp 8, types it in, and everybody can hear the shift in the engines as you guys and speed increases as you divert course. All right. Message being sent to Starbase 84. We can go ahead and jump into the scene. A few moments later, roughly about 30 minutes later, you all jump out of warp. As you do, sensors are immediately detecting that a system is directly in front of you. Helm reports that this is the Tanyoto system, also known as BE349JA90053. If you would like to run a sensor scan, as soon as you come out of warp, you have what appears to be a bunch of celestial bodies in front of you, as well as what would appear to be the presence of a pretty large solar system of some kind. If you'd like to make a standard sensor sweep, go ahead and make me this is going to be a reason science check, and it's going to be assisted by the Pride's sensors, which are going to be sensors plus science.
Shall I roll that?
Whoever wants to roll that.
Okay. Sensors.
Go for it.
Okay.
Do it. Do it.
Oh, not as bad as before, but
And the difficulty is 1 here. Okay, so 1 success. And how'd you do?
bad. Not as bad as before.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and bank the threat that you rolled earlier. So I'm going to give myself 2 threat. All right. So with 1 success, you are going to get some of the following information. You see that this system looks like it is populated with a lot of material that looks like it is interfering with sensors. First of all, you see that the primary star here is a K9V orange main sequence star with a mass of basically the same mass as the sun. And it's slightly dimmer by 0.0084 sols. Fascinating. On the exterior of the system, though, you see that it does hold what looks like an outer asteroid belt and an inner asteroid belt that is double the size the closer you get to the star. There is a single planet that is on the very exterior of the system. And upon a closer look at the sensors, Evrali, you see that even though at first glance it looks like it's a planetoid, as you all enter the system, sensors you begin to see are actually having trouble locking on and specifying what it is you were all seeing here. I'm going to add a trait to the scene, sensor interference. Because you rolled a complication, I'm going to increase the intensity to 2. So that means whatever difficulties I throw at you all, interference.
Okay.
Whatever difficulties you all come across in this star system, the difficulty is going to be automatically increased by 2 until that trait is somehow dealt with. But that's the first thing you notice, Science Officer, is the sensors are having difficulties making things, classifying what it is you're coming across. As you're entering the system, that planetoid, you begin to realize is not actually a planetoid at all. It is, in fact, a giant asteroid. Class D, rocky, barren asteroid that is in a distant orbit. Orbital radius of 4.94 AUs. About the size of Pluto. Now, you did succeed at the roll, so you can spend momentum here if you want to learn anything else.
I'm down for it. What do you all think?
More information's always good.
Yeah, sure.
If you have a question, happy to just spend the momentum and ask. We can be as a group.
All right. My question is there anything that the sensors are picking up that registers as a threat to the Pride?
All right, Science Officer, you turn and look back at your sensor readings. You spin that point of momentum, and the answer comes back to you.
I was about to say, I was like, can I assist on this? Because I would admit it.
It's not a roll, it's a momentum spend.
Oh, got it.
Your assessment, Science Officer, is there is enough sensor interference here that it seems to be localized in the outer asteroid belt, almost as if like the materials or perhaps the mineral compositions of these asteroids are wreaking havoc with returning accurate sensor data. If somebody is in distress here, it might be because they were attacked. It might be that there is a ship out there lurking. It's hard to say. But yes, there's a possibility that the Pride could be in danger.
Captain, this sensor interference is plenty of threat, you ask me.
Well then, yellow alert, shields up.
All right.
On it, Captain.
Shields go up, as the captain calls yellow alert. Across the ship, everyone glances up from their workstations and whatever it is they're doing and looking at each other. And you see immediately people start putting away some of their tools and securing items to make sure that everything is in place in case things get serious. Across the ship, you all see the wallways lining the corridor start to blink with the yellow alert as shields raise on the USS Pride. You are now at yellow alert, and crew is at their alert stations.
So I'm assuming with the signal interference, we've lost the direction of the distress signal.
It is still coming from here, but it's if there is anything to take away from what you've discovered so far, Raleigh, the closer you're getting, the easier time the sensors are having with it. So it seems to be determined by range bands. Essentially, it's right now, essentially, the USS Pride is nearsighted when it comes to trying to figure out what's out here.
The signal clarity is going to improve the closer we can get to the source. It seems like the outer ring of asteroids are presenting the primary problem. I haven't been able to figure out if it's a product of composition. You could tell me if it's a product of the composition, but no, keep your secrets. I see how it is. I'll find out from you later. It's possible if we got inside of that ring, we might see clearer. Until then, I don't have a position for you, Captain.
All right. Let's approach cautiously then.
All right. So you order the ship ahead?
Mm-hmm.
As you dive deeper into the system, now that you are a little bit closer, you start detecting the presence of a power source. There is something very clearly lighting up the sensors as a source of energy that is easily detectable. And without making a roll, the information that's coming back to you on the system of Raleigh would indicate that there is some kind of antimatter leak or something some kind of energy breach up ahead. It definitely indications that a ship is probably in a pretty desperate situation. Nothing on sensors, nothing on visuals though, still.
Whoa. Okay. Trail of leaking antimatter. Captain, I think I might have found the thing that was causing that distress. I know if I were leaking antimatter, might have felt a little distressed myself.
Yeah, quick backstory for you guys too. If you're detecting leaked or dispersed antimatter, it usually means a ship there was a warp core breach and the ship has been destroyed.
Warp core breach, warp core rejection because it leaked.
If antimatter is leaking, it's already happened. But that's what your sensors are telling you right now, just to give you some context.
But I still have signal, yes?
Yes, you're still detecting, which...
That means that there's still a point of origin. Back where we used to be, there could have been relativistic delay, but if there is still a transmission, even now that we are here, there is still something that can be transmitting, Captain.
There's still a transmission, and the signal is getting stronger as it loops.
Captain, it actually might be some kind of escape pod or a part of a ship that was able to be salvaged before complete destruction.
Recommendations?
I won't be able to see anything from here.
Hata, you might be able to make a comms check to try to, now that the signal has gotten stronger, you might be able to make a comms check to triangulate where the transmission is coming from. Might have an easier time than sensors.
All right. I will do that.
So then that would be, that's going to be your comm plus, I might say that is, I could see that being engineering or science, really.
Okay.
Yeah.
You say control?
A comms for the, this is for the ship.
Ew.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm not giving you your role. I'm just giving you the ship role first. So this would be comms. I'm gonna say comm science.
Comm science. Okay.
For the ship, and for you, it is definitely going to be. I'm gonna say control con.
Okay. Control con. So should I roll both? Or does someone want to run?
Somebody should roll for the Pride.
Okay.
That sounds so satisfying.
Yeah. Not bad. I got. Wait, let me make sure. Control con. Oh,
well, I'm on the fence about this because this doesn't necessarily have to be a con check. This could easily be a this could easily be an engineering check. Let's see. Well, the good news is if you look at the PDF on page 91, one of the things that Star Trek Adventure 2nd Edition does brilliantly is it actually gives you a bunch of really great examples of how you would use attribute and department interactions, which is something we didn't really get in the first edition. So on this, if I ever call for a role, you can absolutely, as I like to say, Bonnie this and pitch me doing something else instead, and to see if I can angle it towards something that would be more covered to what it is you want.
Yeah, go ahead. Assist with acrobatics.
Exactly.
You should totally Bonnie this.
You should absolutely pull Bonnie on this one.
You should always Bonnie everything.
It's true.
That is synonymous with greatness.
Yeah.
Except when it comes to my camera.
Except for when it comes to the camera. Don't Bonnie the camera.
I might be going to Best Buy tomorrow. Let's go.
Oh, no. Yeah.
The way I rolled, I still wouldn't get a success if we switched it to engineering. But
if you've already rolled, then, and also keep in mind you can spend momentum to gain extra d20s.
Yeah,
when you're making rolls.
That would be weird.
But yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to add a d20.
Okay.
If that's cool with everyone.
Yeah, I can do it this time. You typically
do it before you. I forgot. Yeah.
Typically you want to spend the momentum. You can spend determination after you have rolled. And that is a way to get around that. If you wanted to burn one of your determinations, you can do it in such a way that you can, even though you've already made the die roll, you can basically
get an auto.
Not necessarily an auto, but
that's for values, burning your value.
Well, yeah, but determination will let you can spend for that in order to get a bonus that you can sort of give yourself a second chance at the roll itself. So
Oh, I would love to re-roll if that's what that is.
stand by 1 second.
Okay.
I'm actually surprised that it took us this long before we finally had to refer to the book to as we are still, by the way, learning a lot of the new rules as we play. I will say again, if you are not familiar with the Star Trek Adventures system, second edition has been streamlined considerably. There are no more challenge dice. There are no more D6s to be rolled for anything. It is all D20s now.
Yay!
So it is dramatically easier to deal with. So,
That's better.
okay. So this is going to be determination spins.
This is kind of just like our dress rehearsal, Eric. Really.
It's literally what I referred to it as on the
I know.
Discord.
I was like,
quoting. If you're familiar with if you're familiar with the play, it's one of my all-time favorite plays. Noises Off.
yes.
Yeah. And I was like, think of the first night as the dress rehearsal, getting the sardines on, getting the sardines off.
Sounds
It's all
fishy.
about the sardines.
Doors and sardines. That's what it's all about.
Exactly.
Doors and sardines. Getting the
Doors and
sardines
sardines, that's where they'll get you.
Splicing the expanse with Noises Off.
Best
My
play
brain
and
is exploding.
movie adaptation ever.
Seriously, I know we're taking a break here as I'm looking this up, but I will say if you ever get the chance, definitely see the film Noises Off. It has the most outstanding cast ever assembled.
Right?
Carol Burnett, Michael King, Christopher Reeve, John Ritter.
It's insane.
It's
Mark
pretty.
Baker. Yeah.
Mhm. It's pretty
All-star
amazing.
cast, all-star.
It is dated, but that is comedy for you. So, all right. So determination. Here we go. Improving the odds. All right. So improving the odds. Even the most dedicated officer. Okay. So I'm just reading up on determination spins.
You could get a moment of inspiration. You may
Thank
spend
you.
determination on a task roll after the dice has been rolled. Re-roll any number of D20s in your dice pool. Perfect opportunity. You may spend determination on a task roll before any dice are rolled, but after you've purchased any extra dice to select a single D20 and set it so that it counts as having rolled a 1. And thus scoring a critical success. And finally, special technique. Your character immediately gains the use of a single talent they do not possess. This talent remains for the rest of the current scene. You must meet the prerequisites of that talent, and the game master may veto talents which make no sense for a character to suddenly obtain for a short while.
That's good. Yeah. No problemo. So what I would say is you can spend a determination on a task roll before any dice is rolled. But after you purchase the dice. In this case, you can spend a determination on a task roll after the dice have been rolled to re-roll any number of the D20s in your dice pool. So that's what you're trying to do.
Yep.
But you're going to have to call upon a moment of inspiration. So this is either calling upon a value that you have or calling upon a mission directive. Now, I will say the captain has given the order. Y'all are looking for a ship that is in distress. So you can actually add that as a directive and call upon that as your value to try to triangulate to find out where this ship is. It does count as a determination spend if you want to use it.
Absolutely. And this is also the first time we're out as a crew, as a ship with this captain. So we must succeed.
Okay.
We must succeed.
So then you can re-roll any number of D20s. It says you may spend a determination on a task roll. So make sure you keep track, because this is what would go into your personal log, Elisa, to level up your character. So keep track that you spent determination, or that you called upon this value, which is following the order to locate this ship, and mark that in your personal log later. So after the dice have been rolled, you can re-roll any number of D20s in your dice pool. You've chosen to re-roll all of them. So go ahead and make your roll.
Okay. 1 success plus. Did we say
What the Pride got?
no, did we say what I'm rolling on this? Control, and you said I can't do con.
Well,
I need
so
to
I'm-
adjust my stuff. I built this character different.
That's okay. Yes. So in the case of I'm pretty much allowing, because what you're probably trying to do right now is basically you're just trying to triangulate the location of where this signal is coming from. So with that in mind, a case could be made for a couple of of applications, but in this case, I think a reason science check is reasonable here. Or in your case, if you want to do reason, I would allow a reason engineering or a reason science check here.
Okay.
Yeah.
I will take reason engineering.
Okay.
The numbers are the same, but for flavor, it just feels like that's nice.
Okay.
And I got 2 successes.
2 successes. And did the Pride get anything for that?
Did anyone roll the pride?
Yeah, who rolled Pride?
Somebody roll for the Pride, if you could, please. The difficulty of this, keeping in mind the difficulty of this was at 3, so whatever the Pride gets is going to be a make or break.
Comm science, yes?
Yes, that's correct. So this is going to be comm science check, the Pride.
So sweaty, y'all.
Roll true, Sam. Roll true.
Roll strong.
1 over. No success, Pride.
1 over. Now you can spend an aux point here to lower to if you spend an aux point here. Oh wait, no, because it's 1 over, so it wouldn't matter.
No.
Okay, yeah. In that case, you
Also,
cannot,
Pride gets autofocus, so
right, it gets autofocus anyway. So in this case, despite the fact that you are trying your best, Hata, you cannot find the source of the signal. The interior of that asteroid belt is scrambling everything. There is some kind of mineral deposit or some kind of interference that's taking place. The sensor interference doesn't necessarily Oh, actually, that's right. I'm correcting myself. The trait that I added to the scene based off of y'all showing up was sensor interference.
Oh.
You're not using sensors, you're using comms right now to try to trace the signal back to its point of origin, which means it's only difficulty 1, not 3.
Oh.
Difficulty, because remember, the difficulty was because I attached an intensity value of 2, that meant that the base difficulty level increased by 2. Since you're not using sensors for this, you're using comms.
Screw those sensors.
It's just difficulty 1.
All right.
So you're able to track the
Hey.
signal back to its point of origin. In which case, you detect precisely where it is coming from inside the asteroid belt. It is coming from a vessel of some kind. Now, because you're not using sensors, you have no idea what it is.
Mhm.
You only get that it is coming from a vessel. You don't know what the status of the vessel is, but you've got an exact point of location that Helm can now bring the Pride in if you so choose.
Okay, Captain, I am getting a location for where this is coming from. I can't tell what it is, but it seems to be some kind of vessel.
Well, let's see if we can get eyes on it. This was part of the experiment, so let's utilize something that makes us unique, shall we? I would like to call the hangar.
Chirping sound on as you tap the side of your chair. Down in the hangar, as the yellow lights are flashing on the wall and everyone has secured a lot of their workstation, Commander Cadence, your communicator chirps as you hear the captain on your communicators.
Yeah, this is go for KD.
Lieutenant, we have a distress signal. We've pinpointed its location, but the environment has our sensors all scrambled. I was hoping that maybe you and yours might be able to get eyes on it. Let us know if we need to bring in the Pride or see if this is something you and your crew can handle.
I don't know, crew. Can you handle it? Can you handle flying your own ships?
As you call out to the rest of the wing, Captain, you think you hear responses in the background amidst the ongoing hum of the yellow alert status beaming down at the on the hangar deck, but you hear the affirmations.
Captain, I've been told to do a number of outlandish and profane things, so I'm going to take that as a yes. Scrambling the Griffins at your command.
Get eyes on it. Tell us what you see. Let us know if we need to bring in the Pride.
Aye, sir.
All right.
All right, let's fly. And they then remember to cut off the signal.
All right. So
just
Griffin
out
Wing
of
is starting to speed
curiosity-
up. What's up?
Oh, just out of curiosity, I'm going to ask the captain, Captain, are they just going to as you say, get eyes on it, or are they planning on engaging with this vessel? Or
If this is something that could be handled by their crafts, they'll handle it. If not, if it turns out that there are too many individuals and we need to bring in the Pride, we're not too far away.
oh, I'm not worried about them and their shuttles, Captain. I'm worried about them in case they encounter anything that's an actual threat. We don't know if this is just an SOS or if there's actually something down there that is a threat to us and the rest of the crew. I would suggest some kind of security detail with them.
A quick question for the GM.
Yeah, what's up?
Is there a tactical fighter, or is there a tactical Peregrine?
You know what? There is. It's called the one Cadence is gonna fly.
So yeah, so here's the status on the Peregrine fighters. They're currently being refitted right now to be rescue craft. Some of them have not all been finished being retrofitted. So the one that Cadence is flying is actually a fully equipped and ready to go Peregrine fighter from the Dominion War.
Okay.
It's not the only thing it does not have. Not that it doesn't have the capacity, but the only thing that it does not have is currently its aft torpedo launcher is not loaded up. However, its fore torpedo launcher and weapon systems are good to go. That being said, if you want a quick snapshot, you do not want to send a Peregrine fighter up against any kind of vessel of a certain scale or higher. Keep in mind, this ain't Star Wars. You can't fly an X-Wing around and not get hit by the turbo lasers of a Star Destroyer. In this case, starships have some pretty advanced targeting systems, and arrays in particular can fire a 360 arc at anything. The last thing you ever want to do is send fighters after a starship. But if it was a starship, you might have detected it by now. It's hard to say. It's a risk either way. But then again, this is Cadence. So
yeah, I appreciate the concern. I do believe the lieutenant has it handled, but please keep an eye out. If the distress signal is a trap, then the lieutenant unfortunately will be playing bait. And it's our job to get them out of there before anything happens to them.
I'm not preferably concerned of whether this is a trap or not. I'm more concerned about what was it that made them have to have the distress call in the first place. Hopefully they've cleared out of the area. If not, I guess we'll soon find out.
That we will.
all right. With that, Cadence, currently, there are only 2 operational Peregrine fighters, yours and one other. So if you're going to be going out there with just the 2, because the others are still being built, the idea is
but we have the backup of from what I recall, we have the ones that are in progress, and then we have another 6. We could scramble a full wing of only fighters. Because remember, it's how many we can have in the air.
Yes, that's how many you can have in the air. But what I was trying to set up for you is that right now the Pride is in the process of getting up and going. And so these Peregrine fighters were being rebuilt. They're essentially still being worked on. You do have a full complement, but only 2 are space worthy right now. They were being finished by the time you reached Starbase 16. You weren't expecting to go on an SOS. This was all going to be good to go by the time you guys arrived at the Chandler Fields. Right now, you have 2 Peregrines, and your rest of your squadron could fly shuttlecraft if you want them to, because you could have those in operation all at the same time.
Marceau, you're on me. Rest of you, I want you ready to go in shuttles. If I call for you, I want you to be there as fast as a fighter.
Aye, sir. Loading up. You situate yourself down into the thick chair. It's almost like a miniaturized version of the captain's chair aboard a starship, except for it's built into a console that leans back. You have access to something you don't see very often on Starfleet vessels, a stick. which is an option for pilots flying Peregrine fighters. You see it's off to your right, sits just to your right hand or left hand, depending if you want to change the orientation. But activating the Peregrine fighters, the two just activating their repulsors, you guys immediately depart as you hear the chirping alarms indicating that a ship is leaving the hangar bay. Two of you slide out of the force fields and find yourselves out in space, flying free. The USS Pride is directly behind you. You bank around and see the fine, long lines of that refit ship. She almost looks like she's got a new coat of paint as you all take away and start heading towards the asteroid field. The moment you start accelerating towards the asteroid field, two things happen. First of all, everyone on the bridge can see you. You see out of the main view screen, racing off towards the brilliant orange light that is the center of the solar system, these two Peregrine fighters racing towards what looks like a field of rock that is just floating in space in front of you, about 200 kilometers ahead. As you are approaching, immediately, as you are getting into the asteroid field, this is considered difficult terrain for starships, even at your scale. Because the loose rock that's flying around here, not only is it causing a disruption to sensors, but in fact, the asteroid field looks quite dense, which means it is considered difficult terrain as y'all are entering it. In order to enter in difficult terrain, hazardous terrain described as difficult, which is potentially damaging or dangerous to cross, it may only be crossed by spending momentum. So in order to enter and fly into this debris field of rock, you have to spend 1 point of momentum to cross into it.
I think that brings us down to 2.
Yeah, that'll bring you all down to 2.
Yeah.
But you don't have to make a roll. However, if at any point you want to use this opportunity to gain momentum, if you don't have sufficient momentum, for example, to get through terrain that's this difficult, you do have options. There's a maneuver major action which you can take, which would be you making a piloting check to zip and dive through it. Or, of course, you can add threat. Those are options. In this case, you all enter into this field. As you are entering into the asteroid field, the Pride, who is able to watch feeds through the sensors of the Peregrine fighters. Remember, y'all function as kind of like bloodhounds. So as these two Peregrine fighters are entering into the asteroid field, the USS Pride can actually type into the visuals and see what you guys are seeing. So you pretty much have your like sensor probes out flying through this field of rock. Cadence,
Griffin, Data, Big Bird, y'all getting all this?
Indeed we are.
I'm sorry, Lieutenant Commander. Could you repeat that?
Is there signal interference, Captain?
No, I just wanted to make sure that I heard you correctly.
You're the Big Bird, are you not?
I suppose we are. We're seeing you.
The ensign kind of laughs a little bit at her station. You bank around a large piece of rock. And as you do, for a split second, the digital LCAR's display on your console flickers as you see the sensor readings scramble for a second. The proximity of this rock as it slowly rolls past you as you bank around it causes a little bit of havoc. And you're starting to see that there is indeed some kind of mineral deposit inside that's scrambling your sensors. But as you are getting closer, you're getting a clearer read on what the Pride was picking up. It's not antimatter, it's plasma.
Ooh.
You can actually see a trail of plasma as you bank around this rock, this beautiful glittering orange trail of liquid fire that's burning in space as it just kind of stretches on, wraps around, and rock looks like it's freshly exploded rock. It doesn't look like the rest of the rock. All the other rock looks like it's been out here. It's suffered the environmental effects of tumbling through space for all time. It looks like it's settled. This looks like debris, like there's been a huge asteroid that's been powderized almost. And it's intermixing with what you're pretty sure looks like fragments of hull that is slowly drifting in space. And as you bank around that rock, you catch a visual of a civilian freighter. It's a blocky looking thing, probably about scale 3. So about the size, about 2 scales lower than the Pride. And it looks old. Very old. This thing probably was flying about the same time the Pride was being commissioned. A previous generation style freighter. And from the looks of it, it does have markings on it that would suggest that it's been used again and again. It's not very aerodynamic, but it looks like it's capable of making planetfall. But it does have a registry on it. You can actually see it looks like at this range, it is in fact transmitting its transponder code. This is a ship called the Calican. It is registered to a captain. As your database starts to pull this up, as you round a corner, you are all seeing this.
Mm-hmm.
The Calican is registered to a Captain Wessot. The ship's computers are immediately pulling this up. This isn't something you would have to roll for. Normally, especially if it's somebody who's trying to hide their information, but in this case, it all pops up. Looks like it's a freighter that has typically been in the business of freight, but often acts as a transport, a personnel transport, possibly like a shuttle. Now you have visual on it, so Cadence, if you would like, you can try to figure out just visually what it is you're looking at and what looks like it's happened here. You do get to use your Peregrine fighter's ship systems for this, so you can actually roll for the Peregrine fighter, in which case that is going to be a sensors plus science check. But for you, you can roll an insight command. I could also allow a daring security check.
Mm.
And the difficulty is 2. Keep in mind, the difficulty for your sensors as you are approaching, because you are now in close range, the sensor interference trait is not applying. So the increased difficulty of 2 is dropped back down to its standard difficulty. And in this case, it's going to be the same, so it's just a flat 2 instead of 4.
Mm.
All right, daring security, you said.
Yeah.
All right.
That would work.
Yeah, it would. That'll get me 3.
3 successes.
Before craft.
Okay,
traditionally I don't roll for my own craft, but you were saying what is Griffin here roll for?
Oh, what is your Peregrine fighter roll for?
Yeah.
Here it's going to be a sensor science check.
Okay. If someone wants to just see if they roll under a 6,
I can do it for you. I'll do it.
Yeah, because we're not supposed to roll for our own ship. I mean, don't get me wrong. I will. Happily.
Nope.
Yeah, no. So
Nope.
My 3 will do it.
Okay, so gain 1 momentum. That'll bring you back up to 3.
Sweet.
Just as you hear your wingmate say, "What happened here?" You fought in the Dominion War. Cadence, you know exactly what this is.
Oh no.
It takes you a moment as your eyes narrow, and then your instinct kicks in. Mine. It looks like this ship struck a mine. And it clicks in that instant. An asteroid field that has an inherent mineral that interferes with sensors. What a perfect place to mine. Putting a minefield in this place literally makes it a death trap. And there is that fighter pilot instinct in you that clicks suddenly as you start to feel very vulnerable out here, but also realize the predicament that this freighter is in. If you would like to spend any more momentum for information spends, you may.
You're muted.
Open to the group as a whole, of course.
Yeah, I think let's get some more information.
What would you like to know?
Is there a way to figure out what kind of mines there are? As a tactical officer, I might be able to.
It's possible, yes.
Because we can spend momentum to find out what kind of mines. Or
Could we get a spectral signature sort of thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, because then we
kind of
could
obtain.
try to map where they all are.
Try to get a sense of exactly what kind of mine did this damage.
And work backwards based from the plasma trail, assuming that is itself a plasma leak. If I follow that back to point of origin and try to give it a little spectral sniff.
Right. Well, so I'll tell you without giving away any of your momentum spin on this, the plasma trail is coming from the ship. Mine probably...
Exactly. I figure if you follow it right back to where the trail started, if there's a signature there, that's probably where the splode came from.
You see the exploded powderized asteroid about half a kilometer off of your starboard. So your instinct is probably wherever the mine struck, it was probably around that proximity. Where and how it was activated is a little tricky. That's where it's not entirely clear.
All right. So we're going to fly in on that rock real careful.
Okay.
Real nice, real easy. No, but... And as long as we stay nearby, remember, they're not mining every 1.5 feet. Cost resources. There aren't going to be two of them sitting right next to each other kissing. Nice and easy. We'll be fine. We're just going to take a look, sniff the rock, and see what we can pick up for all those fancy sensor jockeys back there on the big bird, all right?
Copy that.
All right, flying in now.
You all start to edge in, and as you do, I'm going to spend 1 point of threat to immediately gain the initiative and go first.
Oh, God.
Which is available to me in this edition of Star Trek Adventures.
Why, Modifius? Why?
I have been empowered to immediately take initiative because you did not detect the mine that you just flew past as you're approaching this shuttle. You immediately hear your alarms going off as the computer alerts you to the incoming mine. You see it just light up your sensors, and just as you see it, you hear your wingmate start calling out to you, Cadence. It looks like a plasma mine. Plasma mines, a favorite of Romulan weaponry. They basically light ships on fire and burn them down in space. They are very dangerous, and it's a terrible way to go. Probably what has burned down most of the side of the ship's hull. But as it activates and you see it closing in, that is where we are ending tonight's first episode.
No, I have an idea.
Of the Last
I do
Excelsior,
too, but
because
save
it's 9 o'clock.
Okay,
Save
well,
it. Save
maybe when I have my idea, I'll have a face with to go with it.
We are dropping here as the chirping alarm goes off to indicate that Cadence is going to have to start ducking and diving and initiating combat to evade this mine. At the start of our next episode, we go to credits to be continued, as I'm sure there will be plenty of these. Bringing a close to the very first part of our very first mission of the Last Excelsior. So
Where's that reporter? That's what I want.
Throw the tell right at it. That is going to do it for us tonight, y'all.
Yay.
That's going to wrap us on our very first episode of the Last Excelsior. We're only just getting underway. We're only just getting to the start of this entire adventure. We're only just about to rescue a bunch of people who need help. So definitely join us next Monday night as we return to continue the start of this brand new Star Trek adventure. We hope you enjoyed watching this first look at the Modifius Star Trek Adventure 2nd Edition. We're going to get into the meat of it next game, and I hope you guys enjoy it. It's a great system. Thank you so much. By the way, I see we have Jim Johnson in chat. Thank you so much for joining us tonight, Jim. Great to have you here. Also, a big special thanks to Modifius, who actually took time out of their schedule to promote our stream tonight, and we are deeply grateful for you. For those of you who won't be able to continue watching us on Monday nights, we know that there is a strong VOD squad out there that likes to catch up with us. You can find this VOD is going to be available on YouTube, and it is available for a short amount of time here on Twitch. Twitch, give Althaven partnership already. With that, we're going to bring a close to the episode tonight and give you a big thanks to the Aux crew in particular for making this possible. We will see you all next Monday night as we continue this first great quest of our new campaign, The Last Excelsior. Until then, friends, take care, and hailing frequencies are now closed.